Well, if you thought that was extreme, you won't believe this, or maybe you will because it happened on The View. This is Whoopi Goldberg. She gave a shocking claim about how black people in our country are comparing to what it's like to live in Iran.
Let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to...
Minutes dragged like hours. Then boom, Kayleigh McEnany dropped a truth bomb so fierce, Whoopi Goldberg nearly lost both her seat and her script. 1 minute, Whoopi was dishing out smug one-liners on The View. The next, she was catching facts, sass, and that signature Kayleigh eyebrow raise of doom. The studio fell silent, the mugs stopped clinking, and Whoopi She looked like someone had canceled her cue cards. What did Kayleigh say that left everyone speechless? Oh, this clash was broadcast gold.
Whoopi Goldberg has millions of dollars. Whoopi Goldberg's a famous actress. She's on a talk show, Kennedy, and it's time to educate Whoopi Goldberg. Let's meet Mahsa Amini. Mahsa Amini, we have her picture. She was in Iran, 22 years old. Didn't wear her hijab, so of course the morality police arrested her in Iran. She died in a re-education class in prison where she was physically abused by Iranian authorities. So apparently this is where Whoopi would like.
When you cross a talk show host with a never-ending sense of grievance, a sprinkle of selective outrage, and a memory that conveniently forgets anything that doesn't support the current moral panic of the day apparently, you get Whoopi Goldberg. Daytime television's reigning queen of do as I say, not as I've ever actually done.
What it's all about. Either you want it to work forward thinking, you want everybody to have the ability to say how they feel, what they want, to move forward, or you don't. Or you want somebody who says, I'm going to be on day one, I'm going to be a dictator. Who says it to you, tells you, I'm going to put you people away. I'm going to take all the journalists, I'm going to take all the gay folks, I'm going to move you all around and disappear you. If that's the country you want, you know who to vote for.
And just when the audience thought the nonsense quota had maxed out, here came Kayleigh McEnany, armed with more receipts than a CVS printer on Black Friday. Goldberg, blessed her echo chamber, never saw it coming, because nothing screams progressive. Thought leader, like confidently contradicting yourself in the same commercial break, and then getting blindsided by someone who actually does their homework.
Nudity, groping, and electrocution of their genitals. Welcome to Iran, Whoopi Goldberg, but apparently it's harder to live in this country.
Well, it's 2025.
You know Whoopi's in trouble the moment Kayleigh gives that infamous look, the one that says, I'm about to educate you with a polite smirk and bulletproof evidence. That look makes producers sweat and publicists draft apology tweets. See, Kayleigh wasn't just in it for a sparring match. She brought a bulldozer aimed straight at the pedestal Whoopi's been wobbling on for decades.
She would not have the privilege of being on a talk show without her hijab and talking about the Iranian regime and challenging them and criticizing them any day of the week. That is what Whoopi Goldberg experiences in the United States as a successful black woman. In fact, the laws against women especially going out and assembling in order to fight the authoritarianism in Iran, that is met with death. Like you can receive the maximum penalty is death.
Let's rewind, shall we? Because nothing showcases Whoopi's legendary inconsistency better than her own highlight reel. This is the same woman who once insisted that certain words weren't appropriate. Yes, that exact phrasing. As though crime has a difficulty setting, that was the first clue we weren't dealing with a serious philosopher, but someone who thinks Twitter threads qualify as academic journals.
That's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for every.
And yet, she sits there like a cross between your outspoken aunt at Thanksgiving and a Wikipedia article edited entirely by emotion. Handing out moral lectures like she's Oprah, giving away cars. You get a lecture, you get a lecture. Everyone gets a lecture. Except Kayleigh wasn't there for freebies. She came prepared with a timeline, a memory bank, and that dry smile that says, "I know what you said, and I printed it out." Whoopi ranted, as usual with her signature combo of half-baked outrage and fully baked contradictions, though waited patiently, like a shark watching a seal tire itself out before the bite. Because here's the truth. Goldberg's opinions shift with the winds of audience claps. One day she's a free speech absolutist. The next, she's calling for cancellations like a barista reading espresso orders. Her logic flows like a leaky faucet tyrannically and in every direction but down. Remember when she said political spouses shouldn't be judged because they didn't sign up for this? Then she spent 10 minutes dragging a conservative wife's outfits, faith, and existence. Why? Ratings. And Kayleigh remembered. She didn't take the low road she brought. A montage so brutal, it deserved a parental warning. Whoopi's reactions are always a deflection master. When cornered, she doesn't argue, she reminisces. She pivots from "you're wrong" to "back in my day," like she's auditioning for a Matlock reboot. And you can practically feel the panel tense up. Here comes another nostalgia monologue, loosely linked to the topic, delivered with the urgency of a soap opera and sourced like a conspiracy subreddit.
It's not to say that bad things didn't happen previously in this country, but on Juneteenth, where we recognize the emancipation from slavery, Texas, the last state, on this particular day, and she does this the day before, she's ignorant of the facts. I want to try to be kind because my expectation for Whoopi Goldberg is lower.
Meanwhile, Kayleigh stood there coolly, watching the unraveling like someone who already read the spoilers. No shouting, no flinching, not even an eye roll, just a soft rebuttal, precise and calm, which, of course, drove Whoopi nuts. Because nothing infuriates a pro-interrupter more than someone who won't bite. So what really triggered Whoopi's spiral? The facts? The on-air citations? Nope. It was the tone, that devastatingly serene tone, the one that says, "This isn't personal. You're just wrong on every level." As expected, Whoopi did what she does best when cornered. She leaned back, squinted, and declared herself a victim of some invisible rudeness conspiracy. Because how dare someone counter her mid-howl of feelings and vibes with actual data? And let's not forget her golden rule. Louder equals right. That's the View's house policy. Volume equals truth. But yelling didn't work this time. Kayleigh didn't yell back. She just smiled, the kind of smile that says, "I'm about to dismantle your whole worldview using your quotes and a calculator." Cue meltdown.
But this goes beyond the pale, because if you can't see where we're coming from, then you have no hope for where we can go. That's as racist as anything else I've heard.
When Whoopi realized she couldn't out-heal Kayleigh, she switched tactics. She reached for the classic fallback, appeal to emotion. Out came an old anecdote vague enough to dodge fact-checking but dramatic enough to weaponize. But Kayleigh, unbothered and fully captivated, dismantled it in 4 sentences complete with dates and a calm, "I believe your memory may be slightly mistaken." That bit the memory cracked. That's what really stung. Because deep down, Whoopi knows. Her track record is messier than a toddler with spaghetti. Watching that fall apart in real time without backup from her co-hosts, that was Shakespearean. Joy Behar was already clutching her pearls, muttering whataboutism, which is their panic button when someone tells the truth. Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin tried to reset the tone with a ramble that sounded like ChatGPT after 2 brunch mimosas. It didn't help. Kayleigh just nodded, waited, and served up another helping of logic pie, with the gentle precision of a teacher marking essays. And let's talk about that Kayleigh style. It's not just that she's smart, she's bulletproof. She speaks like her arguments are vetted by lawyers, editors, and your grandma's Facebook fact-check group. Every line landed like a mic drop, made of court transcripts and timestamps.
Packets on The View, but they need to start.
There's no question. By the way, Harris also in the last hour on her show is really brilliant on this, about it being Juneteenth and about how black people in this country now can rise to be a great anchor, or they can be a doctor or a lawyer. And I don't know what Whoopi was talking about, but when she played Gannon on Star Trek, she actually was a bartender talking to people and meeting them where they live. She's not meeting people.
At one point, Whoopi threw out a wild claim, a Hail Mary, hoping to knock Kayleigh off balance. But nope, Kayleigh just raised an eyebrow, quoted a headline from 5 years ago, and added, "You said that during Sweeps Week, the audience gasped." Whoopi blinked. Somewhere, a producer quietly Googled, Can someone be sued for being too correct? And the best part, Kayleigh didn't even need a punchline. She let the silence hang. That silence louder than any Zynga said, "We could keep going, but there's nothing left of your argument without calling in forensic cleanup." That's what made it satisfying. Not meanness, not volume. Strategy, Kayleigh wasn't there to play in Whoopi's weekly morality play. She came to fact-check the script. The aftermath, predictable. Twitter exploded. Legacy media called it contentious, their favorite euphemism for "we don't know how to spin this for Whoopi yet." The View cut to commercial so fast it gave viewers whiplash. One moment Whoopi was flailing for dignity, the next we were watching a cat food ad narrated by someone who also sounded stunned. But the real win wasn't the virality or the media frenzy. It was the discomfort, now haunting Whoopi's teleprompter. Because once someone calmly tears your contradictions apart on live TV, you don't bounce back. You hesitate mid-rant. You pause at the hot take. You glance sideways like Kayleigh might pop out with a receipt.
This goes beyond the pale, because if you can't see where we're coming from, then you have no hope for where we can go. That's as racist as anything else I've heard.
And that's the kicker. After years of lecturing America on truth, accountability, and using platforms wisely, Whoopi got served by someone who actually practices what she preaches. No spin, no soapbox. Just raw, distilled accuracy with a side of polite smirk. So what's the takeaway? Simple. If you plan to rant on daytime TV while rewriting your own history in real time, make sure there's no Kayleigh McEnany in the room. Or at least hide the archives, because she will find them. She'll tag them. She'll cite them by episode and timestamp. And she'll do it with a smile so deadly it should be registered. Meanwhile, Whoopi might want to consider a sabbatical. Maybe a book club, no fact-checkers allowed. Or better yet, a podcast with no guests and unlimited rant time. So, until then, Kayleigh stays undefeated in the ring of daytime verbal judo, and Whoopi, she's left muttering mid-syllable, wondering when the applause sign stopped working. As for the viewers, they got more entertainment in 8 minutes than most Netflix seasons deliver. Who knew accountability could be this hilarious? If The View wants to keep those ratings, maybe it's time for a rebrand. Less hot takes, more debunked diaries with Kayleigh on speed dial and a trigger warning. For fragile egos.
One more thing, Iran just passed another law at the end of last year making it even worse for young women and girls, where they can be put to death for this, for showing their legs, like the women on The View. It's unconscionable that she would try to make a moral equivalency here.
Gross.
Yeah, how offensive. I mean, Emily, there are a lot of courageous Iranians who have stood up to the government, young women in particular, and said, no, I want freedom, and they've lost their lives because of it. I mean, does Whoopi have any understanding of?
You could practically hear the tension crackling off the studio walls as the moment dragged on. What started as a normal daytime rant turned into a masterclass in public. Self-demolition courtesy of someone completely unprepared to face anything. But praise and nods. The panel shifted nervously, unsure if they should step in or just pretend to read cue cards. The cameras kept rolling, but something shifted. That realization that you're on national TV with no comeback beyond blinking theatrically can really shake your commitment to spontaneous outrage. Everyone at the table suddenly became world-class actors in the art of pretending they weren't watching a meltdown in real time. Kayleigh didn't gloat. She didn't have to. The absence of Whoopi's usual monologue said it all. In that moment, everything was laid bare, not through shouting, but with surgical silence that cut sharper than any insult. The aftermath? Glorious. The media twisted themselves into grammar knots, trying to soften the blow. Columns called it spirited debate, while deleting the paragraphs from yesterday praising someone else's intellectual consistency. Late-night shows skipped it, probably out of fear they'd be next, but the audience, the ones with memories longer than a goldfish, they watched it on loop, because clarity is a threat in an era of confusion, and for once, clarity won. The next time someone starts a lecture, folks might just hesitate before nodding, because somewhere, a Kayleigh is watching, listening, and ready to dismantle the next fiction one, calmly delivered fact at a time.